Captain, there is danger ahead. Look!
Pessy, steer this craft away now.
Space, the endless frontier, full of a few perfect worlds and many imperfect ones, hopefully. Come with us on a journey with alien beings who have escaped their perfect world in search of a new imperfect world. Their search for an alien life form has been very long. To teach and guide this alien is the captain's lifelong dream. Join us on their search for adventure. The three-person crew is headed by Captain Optimism, his two sons Pessimism and Cynicism. They have been on the voyage long now and they're tired. Guided by a crystal ball known as the Fountain of Knowledge, they have searched the vast emptiness of space and have observed many barren and desolate planets. It has been a very long and disappointing voyage so far. They have observed galaxies and planets for many years now and found nothing. They have searched many barren and empty planets and found no sign of life. So far, their trip has not gone well at all, but the captain pushes on, hopeful he'll find life. The UFO crew travels through dangerous encounters, such as black holes and an asteroid shower. One by one, they escape each close call. Captain Opto is a dreamer and a teacher at heart who is in search of some meaning to his life. He's a man on a mission. His mission is to search the galaxies of space to find an imperfect world where he can realize his dream of teaching and instructing. His world at home was too perfect and boring. He must fulfill his dream of teaching. His two sons do not share his dream and want to drop him off somewhere and return home. Pessimism pilots and drives the spacecraft. Pessimism is a very negative person. The other son, cynicism, is the navigator. He guides the ship to locations the captain wants to explore. He also is in charge of the ship's communications. He uses the fountain of knowledge, which is a crystal ball. It aids them with knowledge of geography and history, and warns them of impending threats and dangers to the craft. It knows everything. Now let's join the crew in their search.
It's been 6 millenniums traveling through space looking for some excitement. I'm so tired and bored driving this old ship. I really need some change, some excitement and challenges. I need some meaning for my existence. I really need to find some students to lead and instruct in the way to a good life.
Father, do you think you'll ever find this?
I don't know, but just the search, the thrill of the hunt is better than where we came from. All that perfection, it is perfectly boring. I need freedom to do my own thing. The freedom to be imperfect, to make mistakes, and yes, to learn from them and others, even if they may be my students.
We have been traveling so long on the search of this dream of yours. So far we have found nothing but barren space. We so long to go home to a world of no troubles.
Troubles? That word is inappropriate. They are challenges and they develop character and overcoming. Something we sorely lack in our world back home.
The craft continues on and approaches the Milky Way galaxy. They spot a distant star with a solar system.
Soon we will find your students finally, and then we can return home.
I doubt it. It has been 20,000 light years since we have departed home, and nothing.
Oh, be optimistic. Say you can find it and it will happen. You will be amazed at what you can accomplish when you put your mind in it and say you can.
The captain walks over to the fountain of knowledge. He and Cindy watch as the crystal ball gives a short lesson on the solar system and its planets.
You are about to enter the Milky Way galaxy. The Milky Way is a large disc-shaped system of stars and planets, of which the Sun is a part. It is one of billions of other galaxies in the universe. It contains billions of stars and sometimes planets that orbit around some of the stars. The center of the solar system of interest is a huge star called the Sun.
The fountain of knowledge proceeds to tell of the solar system located in the Milky Way galaxy. All the planets rotate around a star called the Sun. All of the planets are inhospitable to life, except one, a planet called Earth, known as the Big Blue Planet. The captain decides that Earth will be his target. The captain and Cindy look at each other while the fountain of knowledge continues to explain the geography of Earth and targets subject students for the captain to instruct.
Geography of the Earth and target subjects. The Earth is made up of many land and water masses called continents and oceans, starting with the first ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. The first three.
The fountain of knowledge tells of the placement of the continents on planet Earth. It tells of the strange continent called Australia, also called the land down under, where they will find their first target subject.
They are the home of a unique species called the koala. The koala spend most of their day in the eucalyptus trees eating and gathering tree leaves.
The captain's first subject is a young koala bear named Paula Koala. Paula, along with her father and mother, live in a little red cottage in the eucalyptus forest they call Paula's Place. The family sits around all day long gathering and eating eucalyptus leaves. When they're not eating, they're sleeping. Paula Paula is very unhappy with this lazy existence, dreaming of escaping to adventure in a hot air balloon someday. Paula fancies herself an international traveler and constantly wears a black beret. Paula meets a young boy from Chicago named Calvin through the internet, and they corresponded. They plan to escape in hot air balloons and meet on an island in the Pacific Ocean. Paula is about to make a terrible mistake. She is about to go off and meet Calvin, who she had been talking to over the internet. You should never ever do this. She will regret this later. What she doesn't know is that that person, in this case Calvin, often is a terrible monster person who would do serious harm to her. She, however, decides to do the wrong thing and leave to meet Calvin. She could disappear forever or lose her life by deciding to take this chance. She departs on her journey, but she will seriously regret this later on. Paula sneaks off and observes hot air ballooners in the outback. She has been working on a hot air balloon for some months now. One day she packs her backpack with supplies including matches, says goodbye to her sleeping parents, and sneaks off to her hot air balloon. She jumps into the gondola and lands on her behind. Upon lighting the gas burner, the balloon fills with hot air and lifts off. She waves to her outback friends and is off on her adventure. The captain looks at Cindy and the crystal ball proceeds to target the next subject. The crystal ball next tells of the continent North America and the Midwest United States. There they find a city named Chicago next to a lake, where they will find targets number 2 and 3. Calvin and his dog Louie live in a suburb of Chicago. They live in a light blue house where they spend endless hours together, playing and walking in the park behind the house. Calvin's home is not a happy one, and his parents argue constantly. They argue over everything, and Calvin and Louie are not happy with this. Calvin is a lonely and unorganized boy who has a passion for hot air balloons. In fact, he and Louie are constructing a hot air balloon in the park behind his home. Calvin met Paula Koala over the internet through a mutual interest in hot air balloons. Calvin plans to escape in a hot air balloon and meet Paula Koala on an island in the Pacific. Calvin too is about to make a very terrible mistake. He is contemplating the wisdom of going to meet someone he met over the internet. He knows that you should never, ever do this. That person who he thinks is Paula Koala, quite possibly, is a monster person who can do him serious harm. Calvin, however, decides to take a chance. He could lose his life for this decision. Sometimes Louie gets in on the internet act. One morning, Calvin and Louie wake up and get ready to escape. They say a sad goodbye to Calvin's parents and leave for the hot air balloon in the lake area in the park. Calvin ignites the burner, which heats the air, and up they go on their great adventure to meet Paula. Up, up, and away they fly, up over the Chicago area. Calvin and Louie cross the United States in their balloon, heading towards San Francisco. From San Francisco, they plan to catch a trade wind, which will take them to the island. The captain now has his 2 main student subjects.
Well now, we have 2 target subjects, trouble and in need of help. One in a place called Australia, and one in a place called Chicago.
The craft proceeds on to the heart of the solar system. They now approach a large reddish planet. What could it be? The craft circles around the big red planet called Mars and gets a glimpse of planet Earth. As the craft passes Mars, planet Earth comes slowly into focus.
I think it is the planet Earth, full of oxygen and water, ideal for the presence of higher forms of life. Let's take another look.
The crew takes a close look at the sun, the center of the solar system, and then Pesci zooms the craft around towards the big blue planet called Earth.
Well, boys, the adventure begins, and my work has only begun. There are 3 lost souls floating off to a perilous voyage. I will soon begin my destiny of keeping them safe and guiding them onto the right path. First, I will have to morph into human form. Now, onto the transporter room.
Oh, this is so scary.
The captain walks off to the transmitter room, where he will morph into human form.
Cindy, hit the morph control.
The captain morphs and turns into a human form of an old sage. The sons are not sure about this, but the captain assures them that this is how the students will accept him.
It is now time to take me down to the island, where I will meet my new students.
The UFO ship flies off to the middle of the Pacific over the island area.
Boys, it is our island, the one that Calvin, Louie, and Paula are about to arrive at.
The craft slowly descends towards the island and lands on a beach. Cine gives the mentor a transmitter in case he needs to signal them to return for him, and he tests it. It sends a signal to the fountain of knowledge for help. Mentor is pleased.
Pesci, Cindy, your journey with me has come to an end. I know you long to get home to your perfect world. Try to remember that I must do this for these 3 lost persons. They will be in desperate need of a mentor through these perilous times. I will be that mentor.
The mentor has mixed feelings as he departs the craft. He is sad he is leaving his 2 sons, but excited about fulfilling his dreams of teaching 2 young needy persons. He waves a sad goodbye to Pesci and Cine and watches the craft slowly rise up off the beach, taking the 2 boys back to their perfect world in outer space. As the moon descends into the ocean horizon, the mentor reflects on the adventure he is about to undertake. A strong trade wind has boosted Calvin and Louie across the Pacific, and by the next morning, they will be approaching the island. This concludes our first program called From Dreams to Adventure. Please join us on our next DVD when Calvin and Louie and Paula Koala arrive on the island. They face danger as Calvin and Louie crash into the island and Paula plunges into the sea and is attacked by a huge fish. They face challenges to their survival and learn valuable lessons in the process. Join us on our next program, Dread on Arrival. Join us now for part 2 of our adventure, Dread on Arrival. In part 1 of our program, From Dreams to Adventure, we followed Captain Opto's search through the universe for some students to teach and guide. He discovered 2 students on planet Earth, a koala bear from Australia named Paula Koala, and the other a boy from the Chicago suburbs named Calvin and his dog Louie. They all escaped troubled situations at home by building hot air balloons and planned to meet on an island in the Pacific Ocean. The captain proceeded to the island and morphed into the human form of a wise old sage or teacher. He waited for their arrival. Now join us in part 2 of our program, Dread on Arrival. As morning breaks, Calvin and Louie are approaching the island area and look for the island where they will meet Paula. All of a sudden, Calvin spots the island through his telescope.
Louie, the island we've been looking for. I think we're gonna make it, old pal.
Just as they think that they will land on the island without a problem, Calvin hears the burner run out of gas. This means the balloon will crash. They hope for the best.
Oh no, Louie, we're out of fuel. We're going to crash. Hang on to me.
The two hug each other as the balloon descends luckily toward the island. They watch helplessly as the balloon heads right into a palm tree on the island. As Calvin and Louie regain their thoughts, they find themselves in a very odd situation. They're hanging from a tree limb. Louie slips off Calvin's legs and lands on the ground. The mentor observes the two, out of sight. They do not know he is watching. Louie is really hungry, in fact starving. They ran out of dog food days ago.
Oh, Louie, you klutz. What am I going to do with you? Are you all right? I see you are hungry, even starving. We ran out of dog food about a day ago. Louie, I'm so sorry. I forgot to pack enough dog food for you. What are we going to do?
Louie is now very, very hungry. Calvin looks up. Above them in the tree, the pesky parrot is gnawing a coconut loose. It falls down and hits Louie on his head, which knocks him silly for a moment.
Boy, these two are really characters.
Well, Louie, our problem has been solved. You are now going to have your first coconut meal and even coconut milk inside the shells.
The blow cuts the coconut in two. Calvin walks over and picks up the coconut. He pulls a knife out of his backpack, cuts the coconut, and feeds it to Louie. After Louie eats and regains his strength, they explore the island.
Well, Louie, this island is beautiful. I love it. We'll have to sit here and wait for Paula to arrive. By my calculations, it should be this evening. I hope her arrival is more pleasant than ours.
Calvin and Louie spend the rest of the day exploring the island's beauty and finding all the hidden places on the island. Calvin shows Louie the waterfall and lake area. Louie really loves this area. It's his favorite area, and the waterfall's really interesting. Louie is mesmerized by the waterfalls and feels a real spiritual connection to it. What could it mean?
Well now, 2 of our students have just arrived, and 1 more to go.
Calvin and Louis go to sleep in the hidden cove for the night, unaware that the mentor is on the island watching them. As they sleep, the mentor watches the sunset in the ocean horizon. The next morning, as the sun rises, a red sky appears. A shroud of red misty fog envelops the island and signifies that a storm is approaching the island area. While Calvin and Louis sleep, the mentor looks at the red sky. He knows it means a terrible storm is brewing. As the mentor has predicted, the sky around the island had turned dark as a dangerous Pacific Ocean storm arose to batter the island area. Unfortunately, our little Paula Koala is approaching the island in the middle of this. Paula uses her sextant, which guides her to the island using the stars as a reference of her location. As she approaches the island, she runs right into the storm. Paula tries to keep dry using her umbrella, but the wind and rain are way too much for it. As she struggles to keep dry, she hears lightning striking above her. She looks up and sees a bolt of lightning hitting the side of the balloon. It blows a big hole in the side of the balloon. Paula is terrified. She knows that this means she will certainly crash into the sea. The balloon thrashes wildly as Paula holds on to the sides of the gondola. The little red balloon quickly plunges down toward the raging sea below. The balloon descends in the area of the island, but unfortunately for her, will not make it to the island. As the balloon approaches the water, Paula holds on for her life. The balloon crashes into the stormy sea, throwing Paula overboard. She quickly goes under into the wild ocean waves. As she surfaces, she watches the balloon float away. Realizes she's in the fight of her life. She will not last long in this violent and hostile sea. She fights to stay up for her life. The waves pull her under, where she fights to keep from drowning. The little koala thrashes to keep from drowning. She sees a fin in the water approaching her. It circles her. Now it's a choice of either drowning or being eaten by a shark. She sees the dark body of the fish circling her. Now, being from Australia, Paula realizes that this must be a great white shark coming to eat her. She surfaces in a panic. Now it is a choice of either drowning or being eaten by a shark. Takes one last plunge underwater, she casts her fate to the winds. Now she is sure she will die. As she fights for her last bit of oxygen, she sees the big gray fish body coming toward her. But what is this? It's not a shark. It looks like a funny dolphin. Paula smiles, but thinks she has seen something that is not there. The fish circles her, and she summons her last bit of energy. With her last attempt at life, she lunges for the back fin of the fish and is carried away to the surface by the beast. As they surface, Paula clings to the beast half unconscious, barely clinging to life, and to its back fin. The 2 of them head in the direction of the island. Will they make it? As the morning breaks, our little koala is lying on her back in the pounding surf. Calvin and Louis have been looking for her arrival, and now see her lying in the surf. They walk over to see if she's all right. As the waves roll over her, Paula strains to open her eyes.
Where am I?
She sees an outline of a blurry Calvin and thinks she may be seeing things. Calvin and Louie are looking down at her.
Can it be true? I think I am dead and I see my friend Calvin and his dog Louie. Am I alive? Calvin, is that you?
Paula! Yes. It is me, and Louie.
Oh, Calvin!
They're so happy to finally be together after all the internet writing. The two hug each other on the beach.
Yes, Paula. You are alive. You were deposited on the beach by a dolphin.
I was saved by a dolphin.
Yes. And we found you here lying on the beach.
All I can remember is that I was drowning and thought a great white shark had come to eat me. It turned out to be a funny dolphin, and I grabbed onto it in desperation. It saved my life.
Oh, you had such a bad experience, but it came out all right. It is so nice to finally meet you. Louie and I are very happy you are here now. You know, he almost ran out of food.
Wow! Calvin, what a strange thing. But finally meeting you and Louie, that is so great. Boy, I really wanted to escape. I hated my life in the eucalyptus forests of Australia. But Calvin, weren't you afraid to leave your home in Chicago? Didn't you fear the change? The unknown?
No, Paula, I did not fear the change. I had my best friend and dog with me, and I did not fear change. No one should fear change. There comes a time when everyone must leave their home and become an adult. And I just couldn't stand the arguing of my parents, and they're taking it out on me. And what about you?
I could not take the eucalyptus anymore. So here we are, all three of us on this desolate island in the middle of the ocean, running away to escape our miserable lives. But this is not what I had expected or planned. I'm cold, wet, and scared. I'm so glad you two are finally with me.
We can get through this together. Things are better when we go experience them together. Isn't that a saying? No man is an island.
Yes, I've heard that, but never knew what it meant until now. But I'm still scared and wet. What are we to do? How can we survive and live?
Off in the distance, the mentor stands looking at them. They do not see him as he approaches. He decides that it is now time to make himself known to them. He walks up from behind them while they are looking at each other and talking.
I agree. I'm afraid too. And Louie and I have never experienced this type of thing. We are very afraid, being alone and all.
No, children. You are not alone.
Who and what are you?
My name is Opto. Optimism. I am your mentor.
What is a mentor? And where in the world did you come from, Opto? May we call you Opto? And will you hurt us? We are so afraid.
No, don't be afraid. I came here to help you, to guide you. It is my life's dream and ambition. I know this is hard to understand, but I am a teacher by desire. A mentor is a teacher and also your protector. I have come from another world, another galaxy just for you. I hope you understand.
I don't know. I'm afraid of you. I don't know if I trust you. I don't know if I trust anyone right now. I'm just a young koala bear from Australia. I don't know you. Why should we trust you?
Why should you trust me? This should be your first lesson. Trust? Trust is a deep feeling of reliance. Something you earn. Some people never trust anyone in your world. because there are so many people you just can't trust.
You said you were from another world in another galaxy or something. Is that like a UFO? Wow.
Yes, in your world you might call me an alien, and I think the term is UFO. Many people have seen this type of thing, and I know some people think it is all made up. But I did indeed come from another world out there, a perfect world, and I came to teach and guide you through some very troubling times.
Why did you leave a perfect world to come here with all the problems and conflicts?
I left my perfect world because I too wanted to escape a world of no excitement, no challenges, to help others and teach. It is my life's passion. We all, in a sense, have run away from what we thought was a bad situation. We are in this together now, and you will learn to trust me. I am your mentor.
You said you are a teacher. What do you teach?
I guide lost persons, lost individuals, and show them the way to overcome and survive and be better persons. You have just arrived on this island, and you have already learned 2 important life lessons. Calvin, you learned concern for Louis and got him food when they needed it. Paula, you learned when things get so desperate with what you thought was a shark that might eat you, that somehow things got so bad that in truth they actually got better when the dolphin arrived. Remember, never give up. Always have hope. You will trust me because I have no ulterior motives. I want you to be happy and survive. We will survive this together.
Mentor, you said show us the way. What way?
The way to overcome. You are in the most adverse situation of your lives. You are in danger. I am here to help you. Your first lesson is trust. Trust is a strange thing. However, through what we will experience together, you will trust me. I will earn your trust. It is something you earn through your actions. Your second lesson is that you must overcome, and you can if you have a positive attitude. With a positive attitude, you can move mountains.
Oh, Captain Opto, or Mentor, or whatever your name is, I feel better already. I feel positively we will survive if we stick together. I think I am starting to trust you already.
Not so fast. I said trust is earned. Remember that.
Yes, Calvin, remember that.
Now, Paula is all wet. We must get her off the beach and into a clearing where we can get organized and get her dry. I saw an area when I scouted the island, and it is not far from here. Follow me.
The 4 of them leave the beach and walk up to the hidden cove, where they will get organized and try to get Paula warm and dry again. The Mentor, Calvin, Louis, and Paula walk up to the cove.
With all your positive feelings, I know I am positively cold and wet and will get sick soon if we don't do something. Will your positive feelings make me warm and well?
The first thing you have to do to overcome this situation is take action. You can't just sit there and expect things to get better. You have to go out and do something. In this case, find some wood to build a fire and get Paula warm and dry again.
I'm worried. I didn't have to do this in Chicago. Where would you gather wood in Chicago? And how do we do that? I'm so worried.
Don't worry, Calvin. We will teach you what to do, and you and Louis will survive this.
Yes, but I'm still scared.
What are you so worried about all the time, Calvin? We will show you how. If we put our minds together, we can accomplish a lot. We all have strengths, and you will see. Calvin, Paula, and Louis, you must learn, first of all, not to worry and fear all the time. Most people worry about change and the unknown, and that is what you are doing right now. I am not here to do it for you. The
Don't worry, Kelvin. I'm from the forest of Australia and live here. If there is one thing I know how to do, is collect wood. Kelvin, I'll show you. And if you can't manage, you can save some of my wood. I'll share it with you. Come on, Calvin and Louie. I'll show you how.
There. You see, not only have you learned not to let fear paralyze you into inaction, you have also learned the value of sharing and teamwork. These are very powerful lessons for you to survive and overcome. Now, Paula, take Calvin and Louie out into the woods and get some wood for the fire.
Paula takes Calvin out into the forest to gather wood. Louie gets in on the wood gathering act. Calvin, seeing this, decides to put Louie to work carrying wood. The mentor sees Louie carrying wood. What characters these two are. Soon they have gathered big piles of wood.
Wow, what a great pile of wood. So far you have learned several valuable lessons on life and survival. This may be my happiest moment. It's been a great day so far, but now we have to have more than just a pile of wood. You must build a fire.
Build a fire? I never built a fire. I don't know how.
Now, Paula, you were just so positive. Don't be negative now.
But I can't build a fire. I don't know how. We never did it in the eucalyptus forest.
Don't worry, Paula. I am an expert at building fires. I used to be a scout.
Are you sure that you are an expert at building fires? Do you have any matches?
What are we going to do? Freeze to death? We need a fire to keep warm and cook food. If we can find some food.
Silence, Paula. Yes, I'm positive I'm an expert fire builder. But I have no matches.
Now, children, just think. Use your imagination and creativity. Many things can be done by using creativity.
What is creativity?
Creativity is thinking about doing something in a different, imaginative sort of way. Now think, Calvin, did the scouts ever tell you another way of starting a fire?
But Calvin!
Quiet, Paula. Mentor, they told us to rub two sticks together. I will get going on the fire right now.
But Calvin!
Calvin pays no attention to Paula and starts rubbing sticks together, hoping to start a fire. Calvin rubs and rubs the sticks together, but no fire. He rubs and rubs. Finally, he gets tired of all the rubbing. He gives up, thinking he's a failure.
Mentor, I have not been able to start the fire. I have totally failed. I am such a failure.
Calvin, failure happens. You sometimes must accept it. You use it as a stepping stone, learn from it, and move on to accomplish your goal. Many people who succeed fail many times. Just adjust your actions and make it happen. And remember, never, never give up.
But Calvin!
No, Paula, keep out of this, please. I remember that you can use a magnifying glass to concentrate the sun's rays and start a fire. I have a magnifying glass in my backpack.
Oh, great!
Great. Now you're talking. Just think creatively and positively. You will be surprised at what you can do.
Calvin focuses the sun's rays. Calvin, however, accidentally focuses the sun's rays onto his thumb and gets burned. He takes a mighty fall.
Calvin, are you all right?
Yes, Mentor. I am all right. I just got burned a little bit.
Oh, Calvin, no fire! We ever get one to be warm and dry tonight?
Don't worry, Paula. I will keep trying until we do, even if I have to start again tomorrow.
Now, Paula, I have faith in Calvin. He has what is called persistence.
What is that?
Persistence is the stick-to-it attitude to keep up no matter what challenges there are, and to pursue something until it comes to pass. Have faith, Paula.
Calvin focuses the sun's rays and is persistent until he gets a flame started. Calvin is happy. They will have a fire tonight. Paula reaches into her backpack and pulls out a pack of matches.
Calvin, you didn't listen to me. I tried to tell you I had matches.
Calvin looks stunned at this.
Paula, it is your fault I got burned. You should have told me you had matches to begin with.
But Calvin, it's not my fault. I tried to tell you. You would not listen.
Calvin, Paula is right. You did not listen to her. Calvin, Paula, remember this. Do not blame others for your action. Take responsibility for your own action. Never blame someone else for them. See, Paula, Calvin's persistence and triumph over failure won the day and made the fire which will keep us warm tonight and cook food tomorrow. Do you see now what persistence and optimism can do? Calvin, you showed persistence, but you also told a lie. You said you were an expert at building a fire. One lie usually leads to more lies, and in the end, it will burn you, didn't it? It pays to tell the truth. Calvin, you also did not listen. It is better to have big ears than a big mouth. If you would have listened to Paula, you would have known that she had matches. You would have saved a lot of trouble and work. Let's all try to be honest with each other, and listen better and be persistent and optimistic for the rest of our journey.
You know, Mentor, I think I'm really beginning to trust you.
Now, Paula and Calvin, remember what I said. Trust is earned. It doesn't come in one day. Remember that.
The night ends with them sleeping in front of the fire and the mentor sitting in front of the fire watching them sleep. The next morning, the mentor was away as usual and out for his daily morning walk on the beach. He spots Louis romping in the clearing with a wild dog. The dog must be descended from dogs brought by shipwrecks nearby the island many years ago. He thought this may be interesting. Now Louis has a new friend. It also may be trouble. Who can tell? Paula wakes up next. She's getting very hungry. She forgot to bring her supply of eucalyptus leaves. Mentor approaches Paula.
I think that is morning. Where am I?
Good morning, Paula. You are here with us on the island where you landed yesterday on your balloon ride journey, remember? It is time to wake up and get going. Please awake your new friends, Calvin and Louis.
Oh, I'm tired. I have to go back to sleep for a while.
No, Paula, you cannot do that. Remember, we have to overcome some very big obstacles to survive here.
Oh, please, Mentor, can't we do that later? I'm so tired and hungry.
Paula, what does that tell you?
That I have to eat. And I'm so weak and tired.
Paula, that means that you are weak and hungry and require food, doesn't it?
Yes, but all I have ever eaten is eucalyptus, and there is no eucalyptus in this place. What am I going to do? I am so weak and tired. I think that I must go back to sleep.
Paula, I hate to tell you this early in the morning. You have a problem. You and we are approaching what we call a crisis. That means if you don't do something about a problem, it becomes a very serious situation. That is a crisis. And you don't handle a problem by putting it off and going back to sleep. Putting off something and not facing it is also a problem. It is called procrastination.
Procrastination. That's a new word. All we do back in the eucalyptus forest is that.
We just sit around eating tree leaves and sleeping.
Well, Paula, putting things off like this will eventually lead a problem to become a crisis. In this case, you need food to take the place of your eucalyptus leaves. Now is the time to fight procrastination. Wake up Calvin and Louis and get going solving your food problem. It will be a problem for them too.
Wake up, Calvin. No procrastination. Sounds good, doesn't it?
Paula wakes Calvin and Louie. Paula has just learned her first 2 lessons on this hard, cold morning on the beach. They are that putting things off and not acting is procrastinating. It's not good, and she must overcome this tendency. She has also learned that if she puts things off, they will turn into a crisis, which is a very serious situation. She could starve if she does not find food and a substitute for eucalyptus.
Good morning, Paula. And Mentor. What is the matter?
Calvin, Paula is facing a problem. Let's call it a challenge. She is hungry, and the only food she is used to is eucalyptus. As a matter of fact, we all have a problem, and that is, we need food to live. Do you see what I mean?
Yes. Louie and I are hungry too. That is a problem. And if you don't handle a problem, it can turn into a crisis.
Good, Calvin. You are learning fast.
What can we do? I'm so tired and weak. I must go into the shade and lie down.
She looks very weak. Paula walks off into the shaded area and lies down on a log. Mentor and Calvin walk up to her. Calvin is concerned that Paula is starving. He doesn't know what to do. With the Mentor's prodding, he uses his creativity to think that there is seafood all around the island. But they have no hooks or bait. What will they do to get food to Paula? For the first time, even the Mentor is concerned. Louie wakes up and sees what's going on. He has an idea. He walks out into the sea. Calvin follows him. Louie has spotted some seaweed, a distant relative to eucalyptus. He grabs the seaweed in his teeth and brings it to Calvin. Calvin and Louie go back to the cove with the seaweed. Calvin cooks up the seaweed. He feeds it to Paula. Paula eats it and slowly but surely comes around. Paula did not like the seaweed but ate it and slowly gained her strength back that morning. She adapted, that meaning she learned to adjust to her serious situation. She regained her strength and soon was able to put her black beret back in her head. It was the old Paula again. This concludes Program 2, Dread on Arrival. Join us on our next DVD, Unveiling Survival Secrets, when our adventurers face new challenges to their survival. In our previous adventures, we followed the UFO crew through space to target 2 subjects for the captain to teach. A koala bear named Paula and a boy and his dog from Chicago named Calvin and Louie. They escaped unhappy family situations in hot air balloons and planned to meet on an island in the Pacific. The Mentor turned into the human form of an old teacher or sage. After difficult arrivals, they met the captain or Mentor on the beach. They gathered wood and started a fire. Paula faced starvation, and they all faced a food crisis. Join us now on the 3rd day on the island. Join us for Part 3 of our adventure, Unveiling Survival Secrets.
I'm glad that Paula has gained her strength back, but now Louie and I are hungry, and I'm afraid we have another problem. What are we going to eat?
Well, Calvin, you need to go back to the sea and get some seafood for you and Louie. Don't you?
Yes, but to catch seafood, I need a hook, and we have no hooks on this island.
Yes, Calvin. Another problem. Challenge.
Yes, and I have run out of answers. What do I do?
Louie found the seaweed, didn't he? Louie has what you call animal instinct. It is a basic inborn sense of acting or behaving in a certain way, and all animals have it. I know a little bit about instinct. Why not put your faith in him? Look, he's onto something. Follow him, Calvin.
Calvin follows Louie into the ocean. Louie catches fish in his fast snapping jaws. Louis hands each fish to Calvin, one by one. In no time, Calvin has a whole armful of fish that Louis has caught. Louis and Calvin come back to the campsite with the fish they just caught.
Calvin and Louis are coming back with a load of fish they caught. Isn't that great? I'm so happy for them.
Good, Paul. I'm so proud of you. You are happy for your friend Calvin. He can now eat and feed his dog Louis. You have developed a good friendship for Calvin and Louis in this short time. And in that friendship, you have both had a caring feeling for each other. That is what friendship is about.
You know, for the first time in my life, I have cared for more than feeding myself with eucalyptus leaves. Caring is good. It makes life worth living. I like it.
Calvin cooks the fish and then feeds some of the fish to Louis, who gobbles them up.
That fish was excellent. I'm so happy we solved our problem. We took action. But Mentor, what about you? You have not eaten.
No, children. Seafood is not on my diet. I have a diet of chemical elements not available on this earth.
Oh, Mentor, what are we going to do for you? How are we going to feed you so you can survive? We don't want to lose you.
Yes, Mentor. I agree with Paula. Louis and I are also both very worried about you. We cannot find the chemical elements you need to survive on this island, or even on this earth. What, oh what can we do?
Yes? What can we do for you now?
Children, I appreciate your concern for me. I am glad you have developed a caring attitude and are beginning to trust me now. But don't worry. When I came to this earth, I took the human form you see me in now. I am not normally looking this way with this appearance. Back in my world, we only eat once a year in your Earth time, so I will not need food to survive. My being exists off the elements I consumed a while ago. I'm good to go another 10 months your time, so don't worry about me. But I'm happy you cared about me. So many humans don't care, and it pleases me that you do.
Good, Mentor. We are happy you are okay. You said that you assumed a human form to come here. Does that mean you really look different? Sort of what we would call an alien?
Yes, Calvin and Paula. I really look much different than this form you see me in now. I am what you would call ugly or hideous in my real form. I assumed this form so you would accept me. I sort of admired the human form and kind of wish I could be one of you.
Oh, Mentor, we couldn't consider you ugly. You have to remember that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, meaning everyone considers beauty differently. What I consider beautiful, Calvin and Louis would not, and vice versa. And Mentor, everyone is beautiful in some way.
Yes, everyone has good and decent traits. Ugliness and unattractiveness are a state of mind. Everyone has a different meaning for what is important and what is beautiful. Many times our imperfections are our strong qualities and make us different and beautiful. It is what makes us different from other life forms.
Oh, Mentor, we love you no matter what you really look like. We love you because you care for us.
Wow, you two are beginning to teach me a thing or two. You can always learn from others. No one knows everything, and I am learning from you. Back home, everyone is perfect and beautiful. That may sound good to you humans, but it is a perfectly boring place. Without any variety, we really don't know what is beautiful and what is not. We just accept everything as it is. I guess that is why I left my world to come here to meet two wonderful children like you. I'm really glad I came, but now we will have more challenges ahead, and we'll need all the love we have built in this short time to get us through this adventure.
The sun sets and Calvin, Louis, and Paula go to sleep by the fire, their second night on the island. They've come a long way in this short time. They have developed a friendship and a trust for the mentor. Today they learned about procrastination and taking action. They learned about compassion and caring, adaptation to solve a problem. Paula learned to expand her horizons and eat the seaweed to regain her strength to survive. They learned to care and help each other. And they realized that everyone has their good points and that beauty is in the eye of the individual. Something they even taught the mentor. The morning will bring new dangers and new challenges. They will learn more as time goes on. The sun sets as they sleep by the fire, and the mentor watches over them. In the morning, the mentor is taking his morning walk on the beach. He looks up at the threatening weather. It looks like a bad weather day. A storm is brewing, and ominous clouds are gathering. As the old saying goes, red skies in the morning, sailors take warning. Mentor returns to Paula, Calvin, and Louis.
Calvin, Paul, Louis, wake up! Look up in the sky, over the ocean. What do you see?
It looks like a big storm is brewing.
And what does that tell you?
We will get all wet.
Right, Calvin? We have been sleeping here for 3 nights and done nothing to get out of the weather.
Right. And what is that called?
Procrastination?
Procrastination.
Correct. Putting action off. And what does that lead to?
A crisis. And we don't want a crisis. I don't want to get wet again.
Well, let us build a shelter. What would you need for a shelter?
Well, here it would be wood, and something to hold it together, like a needle and thread.
Well, let's get started.
They go to the woodpile. They don't know what to do, and then look at each other.
Well, what are you waiting for?
What do we build, and how do we build it?
Well now, you gathered all this wood, and you do not know what you were going to do with it. How did you know how much wood to gather? And how did you know what type of wood to use for a building? The storm is coming in soon, and you do not have an idea of what you are going to do for a shelter. I am surprised you have not thought of this or anticipated this before now.
Mentor is right. We should have anticipated this over the last 3 days and made a plan.
Well, students, you finally tripped up. You procrastinated. You failed to make a plan for a shelter until it was too late, and for that you will suffer the consequences. You should always have a plan and be prepared for the unexpected. If you do not have a plan, you are unorganized and waste time and energy.
Let's put together a quick shelter for now, although it will not be as good as it should have been.
Calvin, we can't not use this wood to build a shelter. I know a place in the forest where there is some bamboo. Bamboo is easy to work with to build a shelter quickly.
Paula goes to the forest and gathers a quantity of bamboo. Calvin hastily assembles the bamboo to form panels and fastens them together with forest vines. Calvin puts the bamboo panels in place. He makes a roof out of forest leaves and puts it on top to complete the hastily built shelter. They build the shelter, but barely get it completed before the rain comes. The rain starts suddenly and the two rush into the shelter to spend the night. Calvin realizes now that the roof is leaking. He had not spent the time to plan and make an adequate shelter. They sleep into the night, but the ceiling is leaking. The mentor looks on, knowing they will be wet and miserable because they failed to plan adequately. Mentor looks on. He knows that his two little students will spend a cold and wet night because of their lack of planning. They have learned that you should always have a backup plan. If not, you will be caught unprepared and suffer the consequences. There are consequences for every action or inaction, as the case may be. As the mentor walks off into the storm, he realizes that this will be a long night for the two, but they have learned to plan and be prepared, and not to procrastinate and put off taking action. As the weeks and months go by, our small band of lost persons learn and overcome many more challenges to their survival. After several months, one fateful morning, the wild dog is standing outside the campground. Louis wakes up while the others are sleeping and sees the wild dog. Louis says a quiet goodbye to Calvin and Paula and leaves with the wild dog. The two dogs go to Louis' favorite spot near the waterfalls and lake. The two dogs walk up to the lake overlooking the waterfalls. While the wild dog watches, Louis goes into the lake for a morning swim. He loves this area and is so glad to be here. Louis gets caught up in the quick-moving rapids that go toward the falls. Louis fights desperately to not get caught up in the rapids that are carrying him toward the falls, but he cannot prevail against the current. While the wild dog helplessly looks on, Louis is swept over the falls. The wild dog watches helplessly and howls out loudly in agony for Louis. Paula and Calvin wake up hearing the howl.
What was that?
I don't know. Where is Louis?
Children, I have a very unusual and strange feeling. My instincts tell me that something very serious and tragic just happened.
Louis, where are you? Where have you gone? Louis! Louis!
Something terribly wrong has happened, and I'm going to find Louis now.
Paula walks off alone to find Louis. Calvin wants to follow her.
Calvin, wait. Don't follow her. This could be very dangerous. Only a forest dweller like Paula would know how to handle this.
Paula walks off in the direction of the waterfalls and lake, and she knows it is Louis' favorite spot in the island. She goes to the waterfalls and sees the lifeless body of Louis. She is in shock and saddened and stunned. Paula picks up the lifeless body and brings it back to Calvin. Calvin is crushed and in shock. She gently sets the body in front of Calvin.
Oh, Louis! My poor little Louis! He's dead!
Poor Calvin. I know you are sad and full of pain. You have just experienced the most important and painful lesson in life. And that is that all things and people must eventually die, some before their natural time is due. You must remember, death is a process in the cycle of life, and all life is born and eventually leaves this earth. It is not that all ends. Death is a bridge we cross, or a waterfall that we go over. But we go over to another existence, another experience, a better one. You must remember that there will be a brighter day, and that you should celebrate a person's life and the contributions that they have made here on earth. In this vast universe, and believe me, I know how vast it is, there is a place that is better, perfect, sort of like the world I came from, where we move on.
Oh, that's beautiful, Mentor.
I feel better, Mentor. Now that I know that Louis has moved on to something better. You promise?
Yes, I promise. You both have now faced a number of challenges and have overcome and survived. And now you have conquered the biggest fear of all, the fear of death.
Despite the mentor's words, Calvin is still in a process of sadness over Louis' death. It is called grieving, and it is a process to try to deal with the tremendous loss. Paula, as a good friend, comforts Calvin in his grief. That is what friends are for. As the day moves on, the three bury Louis overlooking the falls that he likes so much. The mentor walks off into the sunset. This has been a long and fateful day. Our two students have faced death, the most feared challenge of all. They have grieved and moved on. Paula was there as a friend to comfort Calvin. That is what friends are for. They have learned that there is an experience after death, a better one. Tomorrow will be another day, a better one, that's for sure. The next morning, as the pesky parrot overlooks the cove, Calvin and Paula are busy below. Calvin is showing Paula the plans he drew up for a shelter, a hut for them. Calvin sets about to build the hut to his plans. He works hard and builds a fine shelter for them. He shows the hut to Paula, who is very pleased.
Calvin, Mentor was right about planning. You planned the building of the hut. It turned out fantastic.
Yes, Paula, planning is important, but I feel much better now. I feel better about myself. I think I like myself better now.
Calvin leaves Paula to go to the beach to think. Mentor observes Calvin's planning and work and follows Calvin to the beach. Calvin overlooks the ocean and thinks about Louis and his ambition of building the hut. He is pleased and feels better now.
Calvin, I am so proud of you. You planned and built your hut. You did a fine job, and even more important, you feel better about things. You learn to feel good about yourself. Many people spend years looking for someone else to make them happy, and don't find happiness. You learn that you first must be content with yourself. Then you can be open for someone else to come into your life. Now that you realize that, you are ready for a special friend. That friend will come along shortly. I promise you that.
It was a day of renewal for Calvin. He overcame Louis' loss, and with a burst of energy finally built the hut to protect him and Paula. He realizes now that he had to heal, learn to feel better, and accept himself in order to be ready for another being to enter his life with a special friendship. This concludes part 3 of our adventure, Unveiling Survival Secrets. Join us in the next program when our adventurers face a dangerous pirate attack on the island. Please join us in part 4 of our adventure, Life Lessons Revealed. In our previous adventures, we followed the UFO crew through space to target 2 subjects for the captain to teach. A koala bear named Paula and a boy and his dog from Chicago named Calvin and Louis. They escaped unhappy family situations in hot air balloons and planned to meet on an island in the Pacific. The mentor turned into the human form of an old teacher or sage. After difficult arrivals, they met the captain or mentor on the beach. They gathered wood and started a fire. Paula faced starvation, and they all faced a food crisis. Through Louis' snapping jaws, they gathered seaweed and fish to eat. Louis supplied Calvin with fish to eat. The island was hit by a sudden Pacific storm, which required them to build a temporary shelter. The shelter leaked that night, and they learned the hard way about failure to have a backup plan. Louis ran off with the wild dog and accidentally met his death when he was caught in the rapids and swept over the waterfall. Paula found Louis' body and carried it back to Calvin. He was crushed. Mentor explained the hopeful side of death, but Calvin and Paula together went through the grieving process. The next morning, Calvin decided to construct a new shelter or hut. It made him feel good about himself. This made it possible to find a new friend to come into his life. Join us now for part 4 of our adventure, Life Lessons Revealed. In the morning, the birds are chirping in the nest as Paula and Calvin are quietly sleeping under the stars. Paula wakes up before Calvin. She looks at Calvin and knows he is still really missing Louis. She's determined to find a replacement for Louis for Calvin. She walks off into the woods and notices some bushes moving. She parts the bushes and finds the wild dog lying with a small dog that looks exactly like Louis, only she is a little girl puppy. She knows what she will do. She picks up the puppy and carries it back to Calvin. Paula stands over the sleeping Calvin with Louis's little puppy.
Wake up, Calvin. Look what I found in the bushes. She is Louis's puppy. I found her for you.
Paula hands the puppy to Calvin while the mentor looks on. Calvin is extremely happy to see the puppy.
Isn't she cute? I'm going to call her Louisa.
Mentor, I think that Calvin and Louisa are really hitting it off. It makes me happy.
Yes, Paula, you are right. And you were so kind to go out and find a new dog friend in the bushes for Calvin. It shows you care. Caring is very important in this life. It is a life lesson. It has always been true, and you have shown you understand that.
Thank you, Mentor. And now I'm starting to feel other feelings of caring.
What feelings are those, Paula?
I'm really starting to miss my home in the eucalyptus forest. I miss my parents, and with all their faults, I love them and really miss my life back there now. And Mentor, with Louis gone, who is going to find Calvin's fish and my seaweed?
We are going to be in real trouble shortly.
Paul is right. I have been thinking, after all of our adventures here, that I love my father and mother, and now really want to go back home. Now I can take Louisa and maybe help them stop fighting and arguing. I can see things more clearly now.
You know, children, my life's dream here with you has been fulfilled. I feel I have even learned from you and am very happy. And it stems from a feeling that I have done something to help someone learn some very important lessons. You can take what you have learned back with you. Now, I too am missing my home and children. I must return home soon.
That evening, a storm arises, but Calvin, Louisa, and Paula are safe and dry in the new hut that Calvin was built. The mentor stands outside overlooking the fire as the rain starts. He thinks about all the lessons of the last several days, of how Calvin got himself together to build the hut and overcame his grief over the passing of Louis, of how Paula, caring for Calvin, went out and found Louisa. But he also thought of the dangers now because Louis is no longer there to find the seaweed or catch the fish. The children would be hungry soon. He also realized that they all now really missed their homes and wanted to return. He knows that he has to try to do something to get them rescued the next morning. The next morning, as the seagulls played on the beach, the mentor takes off on his morning walk along the ocean, but with a new urgency this morning. He must look for a rescuing ship that by some miracle may be off the coast. As he looks out, to his surprise, a tall ship pulls into the bay. The mentor is excited, curious, and careful. He looks through his telescope and observes the crew. The ship is captained by a strange blue-bearded captain with a pesky parrot named Pierre on his shoulder. His name is Captain Blueberrybeard. The parrot has the irritating behavior of biting the captain's nose and then sticking his tongue out, taunting him.
Arr,
This might be the island we've been looking for, mateys. Hey, Pierre. As Mentor watches, the parrot bites the captain's nose and then sticks his tongue out. Pierre, you keep biting my nose and taunting me by sticking out your tongue. We'll be serving you on a platter for the crew, matey. This crew interests the Mentor, who is puzzled by their strange behavior. He looks further at the ship. He pans the ship and sees a strange flag on the back of the ship. The flag shows a skull and crossbones, which is also known as a Jolly Roger, the symbol of pirates. This means that they are all in imminent danger. The Mentor sees this and hurriedly goes back to Calvin and Paula.
Children, I need your immediate attention. We have visitors, and they are not good people. They hurt others and steal from them. I will explain later. Right now, I want you to go and erase all signs that we are on the island. Do that now quickly and return here.
Calvin and Paula go right away. Paula covers up the fire. Calvin takes down and hides the hut, and Paula takes the marker off of Louis's grave. Then they return to the Mentor.
Mentor, I took apart the hut and hid it.
And I covered up the fire and took down the marker on Louis's grave.
There is no trace of us being on the island.
Good.
Meanwhile, back in the ship, the captain and crew are preparing to shell the island. Yo, yo! The captain gives the command to light the cannons. Fire those cannons! Cannons go off and Calvin and Paula are scared.
Get down, close to the ground.
Our mateys, over the sides and onto the island. Our mateys, row to the island now. The pirate crew rows toward the beach.
Now, stay here. I must see what these visitors are up to.
He goes out to the beach to see the captain and two of his crew rowing to shore. He runs back to Paula and Calvin.
Hurry, run and hide in the bushes over there.
They run and hide behind bushes from the pirates.
Children, I said before that there was a time to take action. There is also a time for patience. We must think outside the normal way of doing things and avoid contact with these men. You must be absolutely quiet. Calvin, keep Louisa very still.
Our mateys, head for the cove, straight ahead as she blows. The three pirates walk over to the cove where Mentor, Paula, Calvin, and Louisa are hiding behind the bushes. Our mateys, search the entire island. Make sure we are alone in the island. If you find anyone, bring them to me. I'll deal with them. Aye, Pierre. Yo, yo, why you? You're dirty. Pierre bites the captain's nose and he swings at the parrot. He swings his sword at the parrot but misses and falls landing hard in the ground. Yo! The pirate crew winces in pain, but then they go on the ordered search of the island. The three are scared, but the pirates do not know that they are there. Paula is terrified. The pirates come very close, but still do not see the three. The pirates search every corner of the island and return to the captain.
Captain Blueberry feared. We can find no trace of any living person on this island.
Arr, mateys. Now go to the boat and bring back the treasure. The two pirates go to the rowboat. They then lift out the treasure chest from the rowboat and bring it back to the captain. The men open the treasure chest. Calvin notices the gold and jewels and is impressed. Mateys, now go back to the boat and get the shovels to bury the treasure. I will come back this time to make sure you do as I say. The men walk back to the rowboat to get the shovels, followed by the captain. Calvin sees that they have left the open treasure unguarded.
Calvin, do not think of taking any of that treasure. It will bring you nothing but bad fortune.
He has a very strong feeling that he wants to take a small portion of the gold for himself and his parents back home. Calvin does not listen and sneaks off to the treasure and grabs a handful of gold. As Calvin picks up the gold pieces, he realizes that although he wants to take them, this is actually stealing. He decides to put the money back. He leaves the treasure and heads back to the others in the bushes. Not looking, he stumbles over a tree stump. He slowly gets up as Mentor watches. As he comes to, he realizes that if he had not desired the gold in the beginning, he would not have stumbled and hurt himself. The Mentor walks over to Calvin.
Calvin, I'm proud of you. You resisted temptation and chose not to steal the coins. However, you tripped and fell because you went out to do it in the first place. You got hurt because you had it in your mind. Remember, never steal or take something that belongs to someone else. Always earn your own way in this world. Now let's get back in the bushes with Paula quick, before the pirates notice all this activity.
Calvin and Mentor quickly return to Paula behind the bushes as the pirate crew returns with their shovels. Calvin now realizes that his desire for the gold coins almost exposed their hiding location in the bushes and put their very lives at risk. Would the pirates notice the activity caused by Calvin's actions? Fortunately, they did not notice the happenings and continued on to bury the treasure. Now, mateys, dig, you dogs. Dig a hole in the ground to bury the treasure. The two pirates dig a hole, lower the treasure into the ground, and tamp down the sand. Arr, mateys, now go and find a rock. We will use it for a marker where we buried the treasure. I have made a treasure map, and when we return, we can find it. The men get a rock and roll it into place. Arr, mateys, now we will go back to the ship and our search for more treasure and adventure. Eh, Pierre? Oh, why you're dirty. The pirates walk towards the beach. Mentor, Calvin, Louisa, Paula realize that it's safe to leave the bushes and come out into the open. They turn around as the pirates walk off to the rowboat. The mentor leaves Calvin and Paula standing and goes out to the beach to see what is happening. He looks at the pirates rowing and looks back at Calvin and Paula, who are very hungry by now and miss their homes. He realizes that he has to do something. They were lucky this time, and the pirates did not know that they were there, but they would return for their treasure, and the next time they might not be so lucky. What would he do? Would they all perish on the island? Would the pirates come back and harm them? How would they get back home? Join us on our final program of Paula's Perilous Adventure, called All Things Come Around. In our previous adventures, we followed the UFO crew through space to target two subjects for the captain to teach. A koala bear named Paula and a boy and his dog from Chicago named Calvin and Louie. They escaped unhappy family situations in hot air balloons and planned to meet on an island in the Pacific. The mentor turned into the human form of an old teacher or sage. After difficult arrivals, they met the captain or mentor on the beach. They gathered wood and started a fire. Paula faced starvation, and they all faced a food crisis. Through Louie's snapping jaws, they gathered seaweed and fish to eat. The island was hit by a sudden Pacific storm, which required them to build a temporary shelter. The shelter leaked that night, and they learned the hard way about failure to have a backup plan. Louie ran off with the wild dog and accidentally met his death when he was caught in the rapids and swept over the waterfall. Paula found Louie's body and carried it back to Calvin. He was crushed. Mentor explained the hopeful side of death, but Calvin and Paula together went through the grieving process. The next morning, Calvin decided to construct a new shelter or hut. It made him feel good about himself. This made it possible to find a new friend to come into his life. Paula saw that Calvin missed Louie and went out into the bushes to find a new friend for Calvin. She found a little girl dog, Louie's puppy, and brought her back to Calvin. Calvin named her Louisa. They now started to miss their homes and parents, and the mentor also missed his sons. The following morning, as the mentor was looking for someone to rescue them, a strange ship pulled into the harbor area north of the camp. Mentor spotted a strange pirate named Captain Blueberrybeard and his parrot Pierre and their crew. Mentor, knowing that there were dangerous thieves, hurried back to the children and told them to erase all signs that they were on the island. The pirate ship attacked the island. The crew came ashore. After searching the island and finding no one there, the pirates buried their treasure. The mentor and children hid in the bushes and avoided contact by using the value of patience. Calvin at first wanted to steal some of the gold, but realized that this was wrong. After hurting himself in the process, he realized he should not have gone out to take the gold. The mentor walked out to the shore to make sure the pirates were leaving. He saw that the children were tired, hungry, and missed their parents. He realized that they were lucky this time, but the pirates would return for their treasure. When we left our last program, Mentor was on the beach, watching the pirates leave, and wondering how he was going to save the children and Louisa. How was he going to get them back home? Join us now in our final program of Paula's Perilous Adventure called All Things Come Around. The mentor then remembers the transmitter that his two sons had given him before he departed the UFO. He pulls it out of his inside pocket, where he'd forgotten that he had left it. He pushes the button, which sends a signal out over the ship. Out of the Earth's atmosphere, through the solar system, and through the Milky Way galaxy. The signal goes past other galaxies and stars to the far reaches of outer space. It is destined for the perfect world where Cinny and Pessy, his sons, are lounging around, waiting to hopefully hear from their father one of these days. Cinny happens to be sleeping on the UFO when the signal for help arrives at the Fountain of Knowledge. He looks at the crystal ball.
Father, he is in trouble and needs help. Pessy, wake up. Father sent us the signal. He must be in trouble. Quick, let's go.
They walk to the ship. The two lift off from the perfect world and blast off towards the Milky Way galaxy, to the solar system and to the blue planet. They approach the island and descend towards the beach. Calvin, Louisa, and Paula are there on the beach waiting for them.
There it is, over there. It is our way off the island.
The UFO lands on the beach and the four castaways board the craft.
Paula, look! A real UFO!
Wow!
Calvin and Paula are in awe of the UFO. The mentor runs over to Cindy and Pessy and hugs them.
Boys, I really miss both of you. Calvin and Paula, meet my two sons, Pessy and Cindy. Aren't they handsome? They have come to take us home. Now I must go and turn back into my natural form for the trip back. Hit the morph control, Cindy.
He morphs back into Captain Upto.
Mentor, you're beautiful.
Thank you, Paula. I was afraid you would find me frightening.
Captain Upto walks to the flight control window and turns to the children.
Children, we are about to leave the island. Say goodbye to your island home where you learned many life's lessons and overcame.
They wave goodbye as the UFO blasts off the island. It glides through the orange-tinted sky and the captain gives further instructions.
Now we will take Calvin and Louisa back to Chicago, and then Paula back to her home in the eucalyptus forest.
As the UFO approaches the Chicago home of Calvin, Calvin's parents are waiting and waiting. While Calvin was away, his parents continued to argue until one day they realized that they were ruining their lives by always yelling at each other. They realized that they must stop this and learn how to get along. They went to a counselor who guided them through some very rough times. Eventually, they realized what they were doing and began to love each other. They realized that Calvin and Louis had left because they couldn't stand the bad situation at home, and they longed for Calvin to return. They are out in their backyard when they see the UFO craft. The sight of the craft gives them hope. As the ship lands in the backyard, the captain hugs Calvin.
Calvin, it has been a long adventure. I want you to go now to your parents. They need you. You have learned a lot of life lessons. Always try to remember and apply them. They will help you along life's path.
Calvin walks over and hugs Paula. He turns and the captain says his final goodbye.
Children, you have spent many months learning and becoming better persons. Always remember the lessons learned here. Keep in touch on the internet. You use the internet for a good purpose. Also remember there are some really bad things on the internet, and be very careful when using it. You can get into serious trouble on it. Children, you both made one extremely serious mistake. A mistake that is often fatal. That is, you went off and met someone you did not know that you met over the internet. Never meet in person someone you met over the internet. Calvin, you know there are predators over the internet, and that you should not go off and meet them. They will do you serious harm. You must be careful. And you too, Paula, you know better than to meet someone that you talk to over the internet. Never do that. Remember, trust is earned. Be careful and use it for good things like hot air ballooning and learning. Goodbye, Calvin, and have a wonderful life now.
Calvin happily departs and skips down the steps and into the arms of his parents. Calvin introduces Louisa to his parents, who instantly like her. They all wave goodbye to the UFO crew and Paula. The craft then departs for Australia. In no time, the UFO makes its way across the river and over the eucalyptus forest to Paula's little red house. Her parents are waiting for her. They also have learned to change their ways since Paula left. They now spend more time making life more exciting. The captain hugs Paula.
Paula, you can go now to your parents. It has been a long and perilous adventure. Try to always remember the lessons you have learned and apply them. I wish you well until we meet again.
Paula sadly departs the ship to her waiting parents. They all wave at the UFO crew, and Paula remembers her big adventure as the UFO goes off above Australia.
Boys, let's go home. Hit the gas, Pessy. Let's get home.
The ship blasts off over the earth. As the ship blasts through the solar system and past galaxies into outer space, the captain looks at his two sons. The captain looks at his two sons. He then looks straight ahead. His mission in life of guiding other persons to a good life has been more than fulfilled. Perhaps he will do this again someday, but for now, he wants to go home with his sons. He is happy.